Hey Cody, it's Miss Plotner again. I know you're probably sick and tired of hearing my voice, but I just wanted to kind of guide you through the other activity that the kids are going to be working on in class in social studies. We're still on the geography of ancient Greece. All right, so this is the next thing that we're going to look at. It's really important to understand geographically where these people are coming from so we can kind of understand how they were able to become so successful. And it really depends on the land and how people decide to utilize the land for their advantage. The ancient Greeks are probably, in my opinion, one of the most influential, and it all starts with the land and how they modified their environment to kind of fit their different needs. You just did your map activity and you realized that there were no rivers there. These people did not irrigate. They really used the mountainous terrain to their advantage and the fact that they were living on a peninsula to their advantage as well. Because the waterways are going to allow these people to trade with other regions to get the goods that they want, but more importantly, the goods that they need. Not only that, because of the land, they were able to produce certain goods that other countries needed and wanted as well. So our purpose for reading this text is to kind of gain more understanding of the effects that the land had on the peoples. So I printed you out a color copy, and you should have it there in front of you. It should just be on the table there, all right? So we're going to go ahead and read through this. I'm just going to kind of pause and stop and sort of explain as we're going. When I annotate, I like to star, highlight, underline. You can do annotating however you want, but just know that when I am doing that, it's because it's probably going to be one of the text questions, okay? So you can follow along if you would like. If not, if you feel confident, you can just go ahead and turn me off and work independently also, okay? So around 600 BC or BCE, a civilization was beginning along the northeastern shore of the Mediterranean Sea. This civilization was that of the ancient Greeks. In Greece, there was no great river carrying layers of fertile silt to create rich farmland. Instead of finding themselves in an environment provided by a river valley, ancient Greeks found themselves on a peninsula. And again, a peninsula is a piece of land almost entirely surrounded by sea, with a rocky landscape and few natural resources. So, like Maryland, southern Maryland, St. Mary's County is actually a peninsula too. We have water on all three sides of us. Florida is a peninsula that's surrounded by water. So Greece did not have, and it still does not have, any major rivers. It's very mountainous, a lot of different, terrain that isn't necessarily good for farming. But there were some crops that they were able to grow, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. So the answer to question number one says, what physical features make up nearly 3/4 of Greece? And the answer to that is going to be in this paragraph right here. Mountains and hills cover nearly 3/4 of ancient Greece. Oh, sorry, the morning announcements just came on. So Western Greece is the most mountainous. Oh, the pledge is going. Sorry, Cody. I'm going to wait till after the pledge. All right, thanks. Sorry, that was kind of distracting me. All right. So Western Greece is the most mountainous, and travel by land was very difficult. The land was not very fertile, but farmers herded goats and sheep on the rugged hills. So if you look at question number 2, it says, how does such an environment affect life there? Well, because the land was not very fertile, farmers had to herd goats and sheep on the rugged hillside. So they modified or they used the land to fit their needs. They recognized that they could not farm, so what they did was they started farming and herding goats on the rugged hillside. But we are going to talk about the specific things that they did farm. So question number 2, again, how does such an environment affect life there? Since the land wasn't very fertile, they kind of had to adapt to make it work for them. Eastern Greece has more land suitable for farming. Some of these farmlands are in the peninsula of Attica. Attica also has excellent natural harbors, and a harbor is a sheltered place for ships. The Peloponnesus, which is a large peninsula southwest of Attica, is a mountainous region outlined by a thin area of fertile soil. This region includes several rivers, but they dry up in the summer. So there are some rivers, but they dry up in the summer because it's so dang hot there that they aren't really beneficial for farming. So I think question number 3 says, what effects did geography have on the ways ancient Greeks met their needs? It's going to be kind of in this paragraph right here, okay? So the climate of Greece also presented a challenge for early farmers. Summers were very hot and dry, and winters were wet and windy. So because of this, the ancient Greeks had to raise crops and animals well suited to the environment. So this is a cause and effect, okay? So because it was hot and dry, the effect of that were that the Greeks raised crops and animals well suited to the environment. Again, it's cause and effect, all right? So wheat and barley were grown, olives and grapes were harvested. The many hills and mountains provided shrubs to feed the herds of sheep, goats, and cattle. Because farming didn't produce huge surpluses and travel across terrain was difficult, the Greeks came to depend on the sea. They became fishers, sailors, and merchants. This is a cause and effect again, okay? So because the terrain made it difficult to travel, the effect of that, cause and effect, is that they became fishers and sailors and dependent on the sea. So Greece is right here, all right? Greece is a country in the continent of Europe. This whole area is Europe. And they use the waterways to trade, even with places like Egypt down here. They had an interdependent relationship with these regions. So Egypt depended on Greece for their goods like olive oil and wool from the sheep and the goats. But then Greece depended on the Egyptians for things like their cloth. Okay, so they had an interdependent relationship. Hey, sorry, I'm recording a lesson for a kid. I'll be right with you. Can I just finish this one? Okay, thank you. I'll be right there. So the Greek sailors were highly skilled, and they traveled as far as Egypt to make their products. I just got done explaining that, all right? So Greek merchants competed with traders from other Mediterranean cultures. One of these cultures was the Phoenicians. Traders from all over were eager to exchange their goods for Greece's olive oil, wool, and wine. Again, that is an interdependent relationship. They depend on one another for their goods, okay? Those who traded with the Greeks especially prized Greece's olive oil. It added flavor to food, and it was useful as a lamp fuel and body lotion. So I feel like we did a pretty good job of going over everything. I don't want you to worry about this right here, the ancient Greek writing prompt and checklist. I'm going to bug you with that on Thursday because I think this is plenty of work for you today, okay? This right here, cause and effect, just go back in that text if you want. You can rewind this video. So because of the many mountains, what was the effect of that? Because of the thin rocky soil, what did they have to do? Because of the hot, dry summers and wet, windy winters, what was the effect? So this is cause and effect. All right, brother, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Yeah, good kid, but he just can't. It's just crazy. He can read. He just doesn't know how to act in the classroom. So on B days for 4th period and 6th period, he gets a one-on-one, which is me. What a monumental waste of a resource. He has no 504, no IEP. He just doesn't know how to behave in the classroom.
Right. Well, that was the crux of what I said last night. It was all about, I'll have to let you read my statement. Or maybe we'll watch it online at
Yeah,
some
we
point.
can.
That would
Yeah.
be really funny.
Yeah.
So I did talk to Ashley. She said, I